I loved how he just drilled down on that whole "you are mine" part.
Yeah.
That was such a refresher. I mean, because you could almost hear it in the room at all the services.
Yeah.
Like you could feel that almost like I need to hold on to that.
Yeah. That's a slippery one for people, you know?
Yeah.
And he did a really good job of kind of hammering on that secure peace, secure love, secure forgiveness, you know, and then the compare and contrast with all of the absurdity of chasing other saviors, as he put it, like the way he used that language.
Yeah.
You know, other saviors. Because that really is, I mean, I've talked about idols before, but to talk about it in terms of going after those things that you think are going to save you.
What's going to rescue me.
And it's those little micro moments in our lives all
like
the
you
time.
said, it's slippery.
Yeah. And so I thought that was really super helpful. And it was received well. I think people, like you said, it was refreshing for them to be reminded of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That whole idea of our rescued state is about God's character, not our performance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coming back, I mean, the language that you and I have always used is, you know, we bring very little to the table.
Right.
But that whole piece, it makes me think of, you know, just stop dancing.
Yeah.
Just stop exhausting yourself trying to, am I good enough now? Am I good enough now?
Yeah.
I had a bit of a conversation with a guy yesterday who was before the sermon talking about some of the things that he's implemented. And I encouraged him. I said, today's is it's gonna hit you.
Yeah.
And you're gonna know it when you hear it.
Yeah.
I haven't followed up with him yet, but I'm anxious to see how that settled.
Yeah. It seems like to me that for some reason in the human heart, it's like we're addicted to earning and keeping our favor with God or whatever. Like somehow we've managed to earn some of it.
Yeah.
And so now I guess it's that Galatians, that whole thing in Galatians, like you weren't saved by what you did. Why would you maintain it by what you do?
Right.
You know, that whole thing.
Right.
I heard years ago somebody say, always remember that God's deliverance from bondage in the Exodus, he delivered his people, he freed his people, and then he gave them the law. But we always flip those.
Oh yeah.
Always flip those to where now I try to be, smart enough, fast enough, whatever, to stay in this, pleasing God kind of mode, yesterday I just kept thinking, man, it's just so good to be reminded of all of that.
Yep.
And it doesn't feel like you can ever overstate it or repeat it too often.
But I agree with you 100%. You can't overstate it. You can't repeat it too often. And yet people will go cheap grace on that and be like, well, yeah, you just don't do anything. You just keep doing what? No.
Yeah.
Because tied into all of that is he loves me. He loves me. And because I'm so grateful for his love for me, I just want to love him back.
Right.
And that looks like
obedience. Well, even the commandments or even the law or whatever the directives, teachings of Scripture, again, we put that cart before the horse. And and instead of thinking about it as this is born out of my gratitude, this is born out of my love, and he mentioned that was the motivation, but that somehow our gratitude for what he's done motivates us and compels us and impassions us and drives us. I'm trying to think of the right words that aren't like demanding, oppressive. I do it out of duty, but it's
right.
I now understand how to live in such a way where I can thrive. I now understand, because out of his love, any of those directives are all for our good.
Right.
It's all for this is if you want abundant life, if you want to thrive in your life, live in alignment with these things in my heart, and any kind of negative that comes out of that or discipline or whatever, it's only because you're settling.
Settling for less.
You're settling, yes. You're settling for these other saviors, these other idols, these other things that you think will make life work for you.
And the things that you think you can control.
Yeah.
All these outward.
I can manage these.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of the little story of the guy who didn't cheat on his wife and was asked why. Are you afraid you're going to get caught? No, because I love her so much. I would never cheat. The result would be the same. I'm not going to cheat on my wife because I don't want to get caught.
Right.
Or I'm not going to cheat on my wife because I just love my wife so much. It's unthinkable.
Yeah.
Well, same end point
Yeah.
to a degree.
Right.
But we don't think about our own intimacy with the Lord in terms of I get
Yes.
to live differently
I get
because He loves me and I love Him. And why would I want to do it so much? I guess I could kowtow out of fear, but that doesn't lead me to freedom.
Right.
And all of what Doug was talking about is all about this freedom. How do I live in the fullness? So let's talk a little bit about that piece, though, about this walking in the fullness, walking in the freedom, walking in embracing the love that God has for us in the day-to-day. Like, what are some things that Brian Long kind of leans into in a given day or week that helps you kind of refresh and remind yourself of these things?
Yeah, you're not putting me on the spot with that, but
Good. I don't want you to feel on the spot. Well, because I know there are exercises, there are parts of your day, there's rhythms that you have, that you've been in those rhythms for a long time because you want to stay intimately connected and refreshed.
Yep.
So what does that look like?
Well, I think one of the biggest ones, most common ones for me is just that in an ongoing conversation.
Just the pray without ceasing kind of.
Yep. And my prayer life is, if anybody were to examine it from the outside, might think, well, that's not very formal. That's not very regimented. That's not very disciplined. I don't know what word they would use.
Like your 4 a.m. to 6 a.m.
or whatever. It's like you're a pastor. You don't pray for the first 2 hours of your waking day, And but it's just this organic, ongoing conversation in and around every responsibility I have personally as a husband, as a dad, or whatever, to professionally with the staff or the board or sermon prep or whatever. In all of those rhythms, there's just that. Okay, what are you doing? What are you up to? What do you want? Here's what I need. I'm tired today. I need, what I need. Those kinds of things. I mean, just those little breath prayers almost.
Yes. Yeah, the little, in the moment by moment as it arrives. I've been guilty of not taking the time to do just that, just in a moment, thinking, I got this.
Yeah.
And just found myself either deeper in the exhaustion or more frustrated with the circumstances, whatever, and had the Lord in His kindness go, hey.
Yeah.
From the very beginning, we're going to do this together.
Right.
And there's so much freedom, particularly if people are wired at all like me I kind of grew up in the be good enough, fast enough, smart enough, prove my value, my worth.
Performance.
Yeah, all of that performance. For me to back up and go, I don't have to have all the answers. I know the one who does. I can go to Him. He's got me. He's never going to lead me astray. He's never let me down. I may not understand right now, but I'm going to trust Him. There's so much freedom in that. But the slippery part that you mentioned earlier, you are mine. People, but what's my part? Just receive and live in it.
Yeah.
Is that too simple?
I think it feels that way for most people. I think it does.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know if it's like this in other cultures or other countries or whatever, but I feel at least in the United States and in the independence part, and you work
Bootstraps.
to earn
Yeah.
every, it's all that self-sufficiency and independence and all that stuff, which those are all kind of good things, unless they're overdone,
Yep.
overemphasized. But I think one of the things that strikes me in the day-to-day rhythms are the times when I'm mindful in the breath prayers and all that, but there are so many times where I'm not mindful, but God still kind of, funny way to say it, but maybe, a wink and a nod, it's like, let me show you. I got this.
Mm-hmm. Have you had enough
I got
yet?
you. I got you. I got this. And so almost more times, or at least as many times as I'm going, Lord, I need, help me this, and I need that, or what are you asking him questions, whatever. It's a recognition that he's already there.
Yeah.
And he's gone before me, and he's taking care of this or that, things I didn't even think about,
Yeah.
things I wasn't even aware of.
Yeah.
Wasn't mindful of.
Right. I mean,
and
from
then
the
you're
50,000 foot
boom,
view that he's got, or
and it's just this gift of, presence or reminders of his presence or whatever, that are just such a kindness, and I'm just like, yes, I want to live in that mode more,
back up, rest.
Yeah.
The cultural little saviors that we face. I remember when we were considering moving to El Dorado Hills, Cameron Park, and just driving around realizing this is a pretty wealthy community compared to other places, and certainly other places I've lived. And the how easy it could be for people to just rely on their money. My money can fix this, or my bank account can take care of this, or my whatever. And the how willing people are. And this is what I appreciate so much about so many people at Foothills. We've got some people who are generous givers. They love others and love the Lord, and you would never know or think that those people were going to lean into anything other than Christ because of how they live.
Yeah.
They live so openly, so vulnerably, so generously.
Yeah.
It's this overflow response to God's grace and goodness to them. And that's refreshing because we've all been in places and spaces where, you like, this guy, he says he knows Jesus.
Yeah.
But it's only because he says it. You know, you don't get the opportunity to see that alive.
Yeah.
And so that I appreciate so much in our community.
I feel like when Doug was going through those kind of, and throwing out some examples of, he mentioned about, how it might depend on his wife to, give him more self-worth or whatever. I feel like that whole effort to keep ourselves detached from those things and only attached to God in those moments, in those things, kind of those healthy detachments from those kinds of things. I feel like that's a lifelong learning endeavor. I feel like that's just something that's just because of our human frailty, because of our human hearts. That's just always going to be. It's almost like, that's just your daily thing. Like, you got to eat, and you need to exercise, and you need to sleep well, and you need to always be in check on where you're leaning the trust ladder of your
lay
life.
Those things down.
Are you leaning on those things too much? And even I've recognized for me at this stage in my life, it's like there's a whole dependence that I'm becoming aware of that I have on my physical health. You're healthy all your life. You're strong. You're whatever. You got plenty of energy.
Yeah.
You got plenty of elasticity, and your ability to flex with things and roll with things.
So all that's gone
and
now.
whatever.
So you're saying all that's gone.
It's shrinking. And the reason I know it's an unhealthy attachment for me is how frustrated and angry I get when it's not there.
Ah,
And I'm like, what? I'm having to check myself. Like, why? I'm depending on that for my sense of thriving in life or being capable or whatever. I'm depending on that way too much, And and it's this part, I think, those pieces where God's just kind of slowly like pulling out those
continuing to work with you.
Yeah, it's like, okay,
I got you.
Lifelong learning endeavor, and so yeah, it that whole message yesterday was so rich.
Oh yeah,
and Isaiah in general. It's even though there's some repetition in there, it's usually because we need it.
Exactly. Continue to be reminded God's got you.
Yeah.
I've got you. Well, I want to thank you. This is fun.
It's fun.
Good chat.
Good chat.
Good chat.